Hi parents and carers, my name is Miss Stanley and I'm going to be talking you through what 2020 is going to look like in year 6 this year. We are the smallest team. We are a team of 4 because we're the last 2 form entry to go through Art John Keats. As you may know, Miss Stanley, I'm the head of year this year and actually have been the head of year of your child for the last 2 years as well. So it's great I finally get to be a class teacher. Mr. Etheridge, who also taught them last year, is with us this year as well. We've got Miss Utrecht, who's also very familiar with the year group, and our new staff member is Miss D'Angela. We are a team of 4, but we spend about 50% of our time with each class. So although my name is attached to Darwin and Mr. Etheridge against Latimer, we do basically teach 50% of the week with each class. We have a timetable here. This is Darwin's timetable, and then the next slide is going to show you Latimer's. The children also have a copy of this timetable stuck in the back of their planners for you to look at any point. They are similar timetables, they just swap in the afternoon. So for example, if Darwin do geography on a Monday, then Latimer will be doing science, and then they swap over and do the opposite on a Tuesday afternoon. And then on a Wednesday, Darwin do art and Latimer do history, and they swap over for a Thursday afternoon. In the mornings, they've got maths with myself and Miss Utrecht, and in the English with Mr. Etheridge and Miss D'Angela, and then we alternate accordingly. But it works out very even, and this year we are actually moving classrooms. So the teachers move to the children, which means that they keep their seats during this time where we want to make sure that they're not moving around the school too much. So they have their own table, and we've made sure that seating plans work well for all subjects that we're teaching. So Latimer have their own classroom that they stay in at all times, and Darwin the same. This is Latimer's timetable here. And like I said, there's also a copy in their planner. They're very good at remembering their timetables so far. As you can see, their morning break is between 10:10 and 10:25, and their lunch is between 12 and 1. And as you may already know, they are finishing at 3:15 each day of the week, except for Friday, where we close early at 2:30. Our English overview, we start every morning with a handwriting task for 10 minutes. They come in and they do that independently, and we can move around the room and support where necessary. Our handwriting has improved a lot actually across the year group. We've got a few children still working on certain letters, on trying to keep their letters consistent, and it's because their writing will be moderated at the end of the year, and handwriting does count for a lot. They have a writing lesson Monday to Thursday, which is an hour long, and then they have a reading session for 30 minutes Monday to Thursday as well. They do have other opportunities to strengthen their writing skills across subjects that we do in the week, such as science, history and geography, where they get the chance to apply their grammar skills as well. Their maths, we're following a mastery curriculum, which emphasises studying fewer concepts but in more depth. They do a maths lesson Monday to Thursday. We split the maths into arithmetic and reasoning, and the children will be completing exams in both arithmetic and reasoning at the end of the year. To support us, we do use TT Rockstar still, which I know your children are very familiar with, and we use Doodle Maths, and that's something that I will talk about in a little bit more detail later on. We are doing lots of reasoning this year. They are in year 6 now, so it's a case of just strengthening their arithmetic skills and applying them more to lots and lots of reasoning problems. The weight of the SATs papers is heavier for reasoning, and I will talk about that soon as well. This is the curriculum overview for this half term. You may have already seen this because it got sent out in the newsletter a few weeks ago. And what will happen is we will update this every half term as the topics change. The subjects that you can see there are subjects that have been that are taught by myself or Mr. Etheridge. So English is Mr. Etheridge, mathematics is myself, science is Mr. Etheridge, and so is history. They're really good opportunities for Mr. Etheridge to make some cross-curricular links with writing, and strengthen that and keep those expectations really high. I'm teaching geography this year. Computing is taught by Miss Utrecht. Jigsaw is taught by both myself and Mr. Etheridge. Art is taught by myself. Music, we've got a new programme that Mr. Etheridge is trialling out, and PE is taught by Mr. Ali on Fridays. Our homework this year, we're trying something new. We've got some online programmes called Doodle, and TT Rockstars is still with us. So far, I think you've all been introduced to it through your children. They've all been accessing it. We did have practice runs in school to make sure they could all access it at home. They have their passwords and their logins also written in their planners in case they ever need to remember them. What we're asking is for them to log in every weekday. So from Monday to Friday, they are to be completing 5 minutes on Doodle Maths, 5 minutes on Doodle English, 5 minutes on Doodle Spell, and then 5 minutes on TT Rockstars. Numbots is a program that Key Stage 1 are working with at the moment, so don't worry about that one at the moment. That means that they should be completing 20 minutes of homework Monday to Friday. So that's each weeknight. And in addition to that, they should be then reading for 15 minutes a book or articles or newspapers, whatever their choice is on that day. That is about 35 minutes of homework per night. This does prepare them for secondary school because they will be getting more than that when they join year 7. I have my year 7s I taught last year whinging about it already, but it's good preparation for them to get into a bit of a organised discipline routine in completing that homework each night. And what's great is we can log into Doodle and we can see their activity. We can see how many stars they're achieving and how long they're on there for. On the weekend, they don't have to log in, but they can if they want to. I know some children have decided to do extra work, which is fantastic, but we will be uploading an extra task on Doodle Maths and Doodle Spell and Doodle English for them to access. They can log in, they know how to collect the extra task, and they're not long, they're just small tasks that have been designed to focus on the objectives that we've been doing that week. And it's a way for myself and Mr. Etheridge to see their understanding of that outside the classroom. We will be checking on Tuesdays that they've completed that extra. So we assign it on a Friday. So they have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday to complete that task, whatever suits them. And that's in addition to their Monday to Friday 20 minutes that they need to complete. And like I said, we can access it, we can see how they're getting on, and we can also communicate with you if there are any problems, if children are not logging in often enough. But we are already seeing a big difference, and we're also celebrating children's activity in school. So please feel free to do the same at home. TT Rockstars is something that our children are very good at. They're very familiar with it. I think there's been a little bit of a dip in using it over lockdown and summer holidays, and we're trying to encourage your children to get back on there to keep their times tables strong and secure, and also quite fast and accurate, as that will definitely help with their arithmetic and their reasoning in class. Reading. Now, we have said reading for 15 minutes every day, and on this side I do realise it says 20. We are encouraging 15 to 20 minutes, but if your child wants to read for longer, then please feel free to allow them to do that. Reading really does make a difference to so many elements of their English. We can see here on the slide that child A, child B and child C, the difference in what they read each day versus how many words they have in their vocabulary. And there's lots of research around this, and we've been talking a lot about it in school, and we really do notice a difference in the children that read regularly each night. It would be nice to have opportunities for them to read with an adult, but I understand parents are busy. But if you could check in with them every now and again, even if they're reading to you at some point in the evening, if you're able to read with them or share a page, take turns, whatever works for you. But it's always nice to hear that they do that with you. And then, of course, that they do get independent time to read as well. We expect them to read in school for short 10 minutes after lunch and in the mornings as well, and it keeps them on top of their reading books, and they can change them in the book corners if they need to. So if your child does need a new book, just let them know, remind them, they can change them when they're in school. This year is SATS year. At the moment we are believing that everything's going to go ahead. They always fall in May. So as we can see there on the slide, it says this year it will be taken the 10th to the 13th of May. So that is actually a Monday to a Thursday. They do not complete any assessments on the Friday. The assessments that they'll be taking will be reasoning. They take 2 papers for reasoning. they take one arithmetic paper. Those are the 3 maths papers, and their scores are then added together, and they will get one final score, which is a combined result of all 3 papers. They also take a reading paper, and then the grammar and the spelling papers are also added together to get an overall SPAG result, standing for spelling, punctuation and grammar. The writing won't be assessed during that week. The writing will be assessed after that, and it will be a collection of writing that has been created throughout the year by the children. So we look at a range of different text types, a range of different genres, things like that, and there'll be outside moderators that will come in and also check that they are happy with the levels that we've submitted. I will share more information with you nearer the time. I've done lots of SATs in my time. I've been in year 6 for about 6 or 7 years now. So we've done the SATs a lot, and we know exactly what it entails. We know how to get ready for it. So if you do have any questions, please let me know, and I can put your mind at rest. It's not something that we want the children worrying about. It's something that we want them to work towards, and have a bit of a focus, but also to know that it's not just to complete assessments, it's for everything that is asked of them in the SATs is also something that they need to know moving forward into secondary school as well. It's just a way of measuring their attainment and their progress across the year. But it's not something that's going to go against them if you know, we do not want them to worry about it at all. We just want to work together as a team to get them the best results they can when it comes to it. The residential trip, obviously that was planned for October, and then of course we've had our eventful year this year, so it has been postponed and we've moved it to March the 22nd to the 26th, Monday to Friday. If you did book and pay last year, then your place is secure, and we will be in touch nearer the time with more information. They'll be in touch with us, and anything we get we will pass on to you. But we're really keeping our fingers crossed that the trip can go ahead. It's really, I've been to this residential myself before, and the kids have always had such a great time, and they learn so much in a different way about themselves, personal development, and their sort of independence and confidence. You really do see massive change in that week, and it's something that I know they'll really thoroughly enjoy, and something that I hope definitely goes ahead. Okay, so fingers crossed that we are in a better position in March next year and that we can go ahead with the trip. I will be in touch with meetings and information nearer the time. Just a reminder about uniform. So far, the children have looked really smart returning to school this September. Just a reminder to make sure everything's labelled. It is helpful. We do, you know, have them putting their blazers down, and then they're not quite sure whose blazer's who or whose jumper's who. So it is really useful if they've got that label on there, and that they're wearing the correct uniform every day. We aren't allowed to lend out things like ties anymore at the moment, so it's really useful if they have their own tie on every day and not forgetting it. PE kits is to be worn every Friday. That's their day of PE, which means it saves time because we can start the PE lesson immediately without having to get changed. It's also more hygienic if the children are getting changed at home rather in school. So they must make sure that they are wearing the correct uniform. The next 2 slides just give you those details of the uniform that we expect. I know we're about to go into winter, so girls can wear tights, and they can wear boots if they need to, black boots. And then the PE uniform here as well, preferably making sure that our trainers are black as well. Other essential items that children can bring in every day, water bottles. So please make sure they have their water bottle. They can top it up with the water. There's drinking water in all the classrooms, so they can top it up whenever needed. A snack for break time is advised. We don't have lunch until 12, so it can be quite a long morning. So if your child does want to bring in a healthy snack, I do often see them with fruit, some apples or grapes or carrot sticks, cucumber sticks, something light for them just to snack on at break time. And then they've also been given a handwriting book this year. We've asked for handwriting books to be sent home because we feel that they'll be used more. They come in the mornings, they get their handwriting book out of their bag, they complete their handwriting activity, we get a chance to check it. But then those children that do need a little bit more practice, they do have access to that book at home. So if they want to, they can. We're not making it compulsory homework at the moment, But if they want to practice a little bit more, if you want to check in and see how their handwriting is going, you can also do that. Okay. Pencil cases. We haven't put this down as an essential item because we don't want to, make you feel like you have to buy a pencil case and they have to be sent in with one. But it's also that little bridge between primary and secondary, and children becoming more responsible and organised with their equipment. We do ask that the pencil cases could be transparent, and that will be something that secondary asks for as well. The essential items that we have inside will be pencils, black handwriting pens, green pens for marking, ruler, protractor for maths, rubber, colouring pencils, and a glue stick. I don't mind if there's a few things like felt tips in there as well, and a sharpener. We don't mind. What we don't want to get into a habit of is having too many unnecessary items. I have seen children bringing in a few like pens that are a bit silly, or post-it notes, but then they're using them for the wrong reasons. And if that happens, and we just speak to your child, they get the warning, and then we might ask them not to bring those back into school again. But it's just helping the child become responsible for their own equipment and for what they need during the day. So please encourage them to bring one if you're happy for them to do so. We still have in school equipment for them to use, so no pressure. If they do not want to bring a pencil case in at the moment, we still have resources in school that they can use. You will have seen your child's planner. We have a planner that's for years 5 and 6. They are considered to be an essential item, and they do need to bring them into school every single day. They're very good at getting them to open them up in the mornings. They come in, it's part of their routine, and they leave them open on the weekly page on their desk, and that just stays there. And because they're not moving seats at the moment, it stays there all day, and it means that we can use them throughout all lessons. This is what a weekly page looks like. So you can see the date along the top. On the left-hand side, they've got a place to put any pupil comments. Then you've got a place if you want to write any parent comments, and we've got room to write a teacher comment. And they have a weekly rating, which they can choose to do about how they feel their week's gone. It's encouraging them to be reflective of their effort and their behaviour. The pupil comments can be used for anything, in terms of if they want to make notes of something important, like if there's any change to their timetable, or if they want to make a note of an upcoming lesson that they want to prepare for, or something that they might need to remember to bring in, anything like that. We've also used them for little revision notes. If there was something that they need to go over, or any test scores that they've received, they can make a note of those there. In terms of parents, if you've got anything that you want us to see, please feel free to write a comment in the planner and your child can show us. If you would like it to be more of a conversation over the phone, then you could write in the planner for myself or Mr. Etheridge to put a call in when we're available, and then we can call you if it's something you want to talk about over the phone. On the right hand side, we've got space for our merits along the top, which is children can get merits for being scholar of the lesson, or going above and beyond with effort or kindness, anything that meets our Keats values, which I'll talk about in more detail. And then underneath you've got a team points tally, and that's something new that we're trialing this year. You might see that we write some points in there if they're in teams in their subjects. And then underneath is a conversation log, and that's teacher conversations, and it's similar to last year's setup. Each day is broken into 2 half days, so you've got morning and afternoon. It resets as soon as the next half a day comes into play. The first teacher conversation is simply a warning. It might just simply be a reminder to do the right thing or to follow an instruction. If they get a second teacher conversation in the same morning or the same afternoon, it leads to catch-up 1. Catch-up 1 is just sitting and having their lunch on the catch-up table, where they can sit on their own and just have a bit of reflection time. It's when we can go around and speak to them about their morning and how to make sure that they're okay and how they can make better choices in their next session. Catch-up 2, it means losing a bit of their break time, their lunch time. And then we have after-school catch-up, which will be either 10 or 20 minutes after school, depending on what the incidence is or the reasons are. There is a code further at the start of the planner that does explain what the teacher conversations are. So for example, NFI is a common one. NFI stands for not following instructions. So if a child is doing something they shouldn't be when they've been asked not to, that might be what's noted down. We also have T for talking when they shouldn't be, or E if there's a lack of effort being shown in their lessons. Those are examples of what a teacher conversation might be, so it helps you guys know what they've been given a teacher conversation for. We do speak to the children about it, so they do know what their teacher conversations are. We would never just write one in and expect the child to know without talking to them about it. So that is hopefully as well, if they come home and talk to you about their behaviour that day, then they are also able to be reflective and honest with you as well. We've also designed the planners this year to include notes pages before and after each week. And we just felt before they were all gathered together at the back of the planner and they weren't used as effectively. Whereas this way, by spreading them out throughout the planner, it gives children a bit more room to make notes. And the children have already started using them really, really well. So some of them, again, have been making notes in lessons if it's something they want to remember or something that they want to record for the next lesson. Sometimes we give them a bit of pre-warning if they've got something coming up, either an assessment or a mastery quiz or just a certain lesson that they might want to have a little pre-think about, and they've been noting things down in their notes pages, which is great. Our pastoral vision at Art John Keats is we believe that every pupil has the capacity to be knowledgeable, literate, articulate, confident and a compassionate individual. To support pupils in reaching this capacity, as part of our pastoral care, all teaching staff ensure that our school remains a safe environment. As much as we can, that pupils are safe in all aspects of their lives. Parent communication is honest, supportive, frequent, and in the pupil's best interest. Our behaviour approach is implemented correctly to promote general well-being and self-discipline amongst pupils. And of course, that every scholar feels like they belong. We still working towards our values, our kindness, effort, aspiration, tenacity and success, which are our values that spell out Keats. The children are very familiar with these words. They will have heard them for many years now, and we use them in our day-to-day language. If they are doing something really well, we might celebrate a value that they've particularly shown. Or we might correct their behaviour by advising them to work on a particular value. We do celebrate them as a school, and there is an assembly each term where we select children that have gone above and beyond in showing these specific values. The behaviour escalation system is basically what I've just spoken about in regards to the planner. So just to be clear, the escalation system is only used after our routines and reminders have not worked. We do use a lot of non-verbals in the class, so sometimes your child might have had a few warnings before it's actually become a conversation or before we've actually moved over to talk about it with the planner. It's something that they will have just been given a few gentle reminders in class in different ways. As I said, it resets every half day. So if your child's had a tough morning, they've got a chance to redeem themselves, pull it back and have a really positive afternoon. Or vice versa. If they've had a tricky afternoon, the next morning when they come in, it's a new clean slate. Catch-ups occur either at lunchtime, during pastoral time in the afternoon, or after school. We will initial the box, so any member of staff can be a person that gives the teacher conversation. They will initial it and write down the code for the behaviour, and all those codes are stuck in the front of the planner along with further information regarding the escalation system. Teachers may add notes to the teacher comment section if needed. So if we feel like it needs a bit more of an explanation, we will write in the planner a comment. If we feel it needs more than that, then it will be a phone call home, and myself or Mr. Etheridge or a member of the Year 6 team will contact you. In any situation where the conversation log is used, a teacher will explain what the pupil was asked to do, what they chose to do instead, and why this was wrong, and give an encouragement to do the correct thing going forward. These are the conversations that we're having with your children in the day. So if they are on catch-up at lunchtime, then we do make sure we go over and speak to them about what they could do. And very often they correct their own behaviour. Very often they are aware of what they've done wrong, which shows great maturity, and then we move on from it, have a better afternoon, and hopefully reduce that chance from happening again. Behaviour outside the escalation system. So if a pupil is removed from a lesson, the teacher will inform you through Class Dojo or through a phone call. If a child is removed from the lesson, it's because they've had plenty of warnings and they're still not making the right decisions, and it's now having an impact on their learning and possibly others around them. So then they are removed so that they can have a conversation outside the class before coming back in and trying again. Timeouts will be issued to pupils for poor behaviour on the playground. So they might be asked to go and stand next to the fence and just calm down. They have their break times and lunch times over near the Astro. So there's plenty of space for them to take a little bit of a time out. Behaviour outside the escalation system can result in a loss of social time or exclusion, but parents and carers will always be informed of incidences which are deemed to be outside of the escalation system. The parent-school communication this year, we have Class Dojo up and running since lockdown, so you can message us directly on Class Dojo or we can message you. You have the website if you need to use that, and our email address. If you do need to email the school office, they can forward it on to us. Obviously the phone number is there. If you need to call the office and say to get the message to myself or Mr. Etheridge, you can do that. The newsletters are now being sent only digitally, and you can access those, and that might be a way for us to put generic messages out about anything or your curriculum overviews. We can still send text messages, so if it's something that perhaps just Year 6 need and it's not worth a letter, just a short message, then we would send a text message out. So for example, if the PE day changes that week, we might send a text message to remind you. We have our Twitter and YouTube pages, and Friday assemblies. They're not currently happening, but we are going to be looking into making those run hopefully soon in the future. We do have a process where we do like the class teacher to be responsible for speaking to the class. If you need to speak to me as the head of year, of course I can contact you as well, that's not a problem, or we have members of the leadership team that can speak to you if it's something else you would rather speak to them about. If you do have any questions after this PowerPoint or anything that you feel I've not gone into enough detail about, please just use one of our methods of communication, either the planner, the Class Dojo, or email, and I can give you a call or I can write a note to you if it's something that you need me to add anything to. Okay, thank you for your time. We really look forward to teaching your children this year. It's going to be a great year. Despite our few challenges that we have at the moment, they've made a fantastic start so far, and their attendance has been really, really strong, which is excellent. And we do keep noting their attendance down on the newsletter as well. So if you do ever want to look at it, that information is there. They're producing some great work in their books, and we are ploughing on with our plans for a successful Year 6 SATS year and residential trip. So fingers crossed that all goes ahead. Thank you for your time. Bye.